Hey everybody over at MoviesDotCom, it's the Schmoes No Movie Show. I'm Kristian.
And I am Mark. Kristian, this weekend in theaters is Getaway, starring Ethan Hawke and Jon Voight. Both of those actors have recently had a career resurgence, or as we like to say in the sports world, comebacks.
Yeah, there has been quite a few movie stars who have kind of disappeared and never come back. And then there's the movie stars that you liked them for a while, then they disappeared, and then they just came back even stronger than before. So this is where we think Ethan Hawke has done it recently. Every movie he seems to do, he's making a lot of money now.
Yeah, he was really great in Sinister last year. We're hoping that this one is going to be exciting. And Jon Voight's back playing a bad guy on the show Ray Donovan, as well as this movie. So the top 5 movie comebacks of all time. You ready?
Yeah, I am ready. This is going to be a good list. It's going to be fun. What do you got at number 5?
Well, one of the greatest sitcoms of the 80s was a little show called Golden Girls, and one of the breakout stars was a young lady named Betty White.
Yeah, Betty White came back strong as ever because she started playing like filthy characters, like with things she was saying and stuff that she was doing, like in the proposal she was in. But the thing was, it wasn't forced. You believe it. She showed up on Roast and she showed up everywhere.
Yeah, it's true too, because she was always very funny. And I think people just learned. She didn't really go away. It's just that Hollywood learned how to use her in this new, maybe in the last decade. Whenever she'd come by and do like the Tonight Show or the Late Show with David Letterman, she was hilarious.
Yeah.
She would murder on stage, and people just realized, hey, we need to put this lady in more movies and TV shows, and it's worked to a T.
And there was like a huge Facebook campaign to get her back, and that got her in the spotlight to do Saturday Night Live. So, yeah, and she's like 90-something years young, and she is going to be around for as long as she can be around.
We all should be so lucky. Kristian, who is at number 4?
Number 4, we're going to have to go with someone's face who's not made a comeback, but definitely a performance comeback. Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke was a good-looking like dude who was in 9.5 weeks, and the woman thought he was, he was just super sexy. And then he started boxing, got his face to turn into a turnip, and he disappeared. And then he shows back up in The Wrestler and gets nominated for the Oscar.
Yeah, but it was also one of those things where he was like heralded as the next great actor. He was going to be the brand of his generation, and he just fell in love with boxing and just stopped making movies for a while. Then he had like that bad run of like directed video kind of things.
That stuff, yeah.
But then when he comes back in The Wrestler, since then he's also had some other really interesting roles, and he's kind of the headline for all of these guys in The Expendables. Like what Stallone was able to do, bring all these guys like Van Damme and Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris, and put all these guys back in movies again, and Rourke one of those many examples.
Yeah, he showed up in Sin City, Iron Man 2. He's back in the big budget. He's an A-lister again, and that was, getting away from the DirecTV. DirecTV?
Yeah. Good play. Coming in at number 3 is a guy who is really in the news this week, but he's been making a lot of headlines for how talented he is, not only as an actor, but a director, and that's what helped him get back on his feet. That is, of course, Ben Affleck, or Batfleck.
Yeah, I got this one I could almost even argue higher, but at 3 I definitely understand it, because here's the reason why. This guy, he hit the scene huge. He was already an actor in all these movies like Dazed and Confused or whatever it was too, and then he hit it big when he wrote and won an Oscar for Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. Then he did a few Kevin Smith movies. Then he got to these big budget films.
Yeah,
like
taking the check.
Pearl Harbor. There's actually a movie called Paycheck that he did. Reindeer Game is your favorite of all time.
Yeah.
And he just kind of took a tailspin right after the J-Lo movie kind of phase that he was in.
But not only did he come back with huge movies, he came back as a critically acclaimed director, like between Gone Baby Gone, The Town, and Argo, which are all like incredible, not good, incredible movies. And the guy is like the upper echelon now of directors, and put himself in there as well. Huge comeback.
Yeah, but you know what? It's harder to get to number 1, or it's harder to stay at number 1 than it is to get to number 1. So how is he going to handle being Batman and Bruce Wayne in the new Superman movie? Can he stay at the top?
I don't know. Speaking about someone who hasn't really stayed at the top but keeps coming back, is number 2, and that would be John Travolta.
Yeah. Now, it's a good argument between 2 and 1, but if we're talking about Travolta, he didn't have one career comeback. He had a huge one when he was in Pulp Fiction. And he just reinvented himself totally. But before that, he was the guy from Welcome Back, Kotter.
Grease.
Then he was in Grease. Then Urban Cowboy. Then he went away for a little bit. Saturday Night Fever. And then he did Look Who's Talking. He was back on the map for a little bit. Then he kind of went under because he made a lot of bad sequels to those kind of movies. And then Pulp Fiction is his biggest comeback to date.
Yeah, and Pulp Fiction put him back again as an A-list star, and he started doing the movies like Get Shorty, and he was all over the place doing these big movies again. But he's gone back and forth. Like Battlefield Earth threw him back, and then he went back up and did some other movies, and he's still in the A-list right now. I think he's kind of not on the top right now, but John Travolta is one of those guys. He can pop back, but this is more of an example of someone who's done it. He has done it, but that's why he's not number 1, because he's not there right now.
Right now?
Yeah, he's not on the top.
Right now, John Travolta's getting a massage somewhere in New York. Let's go to number 1, Kristian. Who do we got?
All right, so then number 1 is a no-brainer. Tony Stark himself. Robert Downey Jr., and this is for so many different reasons, because not only did he come back in the traditional way that we're talking about, he came back from, like, life.
Yeah, the fact that he's still alive is a testament to his will. Because whereas John Travolta had a lot of mini comebacks, Downey had a monster one that is still going strong today because he's not only the Iron Man character, but he's also been in a number of other different kind of films, comedies and dramas. But he had like a serious drug problem.
I mean, dressing up as Wonder Woman and stuff and dancing around.
Passing out in random strangers' homes. Yeah. And he would, like Mickey Rourke, he was heralded when he first came out as this guy could be the talent of our generation.
They kept him around in Ally McBeal because he was so screwed up, but he was so good, and he was a nice guy, and people liked working with him, but he fell off. Then he came back, Gothica got him back on track, then he get Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and this was a guy who's making $2 million, $3 million. He's making so much money now, he literally is almost making as much money as Tony Stark.
That money buys a lot of drugs, but thank God you're off that wagon, Robert. We hope it's for good, because we love seeing you as Iron Man.
And we love seeing you as number one on this list. A couple honorable mentions. We mentioned Tarantino helping out with Pulp Fiction. He also helped out Jackie Brown, Pam Grier as well. As you can also mention Robert Forster as well.
Yeah, how about Burt Reynolds? Remember when he made that comeback when he was in Boogie Nights? Yeah, was nominated for an Oscar.
So there you go. Those are some comebacks. I'm sure you guys have some more. Comment and tell us who are the greatest movie star comebacks of all time. Comment below and tell us your thoughts.
And check out some other comebacks this weekend in theaters is Getaway, starring Ethan Hawke and Jon Voight as a bad guy. He's done that once or twice.
Or you can just sit home and watch Back to the Future.
Take a breath and just think about what it's going to be like when Ben Affleck hits the big screen as Batman in a couple of years. Until that happens, this is the Schmoes Know Movie Show on MoviesDotCom. I'm Mark.
Argo.
That's Kristian. Argo F yourself.